Stage 6, Giro d'Italia 2023. This is Between Two Wheels podcast. Tyler Yonke coming to you. Gonna tell you, gonna break down Stage 6, what happened, why it gives me a reminiscing feeling of the 2005 Tour de France. Talk about that. Napoli to Napoli or Naples to Naples. I don't know, whatever it is. We're southern part of Italy. No rain. Pretty exciting-ish. It was a good day. Welcome, everybody. Let's break this down. Hope everyone's doing fine. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. So 162 kilometers today. Interesting stage on the mix, and for the most part, tomorrow's going to be a bigger breakaway day. It's either going to be a breakaway day or fireworks are going to happen because it's got some good climbing. Today we had a few climbs on the circuit. Let's see if we get it's along the coast. There we go. There's the two Cat 2s I think in there. And then kind of just lumpy stuff coming into the finish here, last 40, 50K. And as you would expect, a breakaway, teams get up the road right to begin with. Nicer weather, finally some nicer weather. Looks like Remco was doing fine. Who gets up the road? Cavendish is already getting thrown out the back. And so it's going to be a day with sprinters or breakaway. That's the question. And as it was, there's some good guy riding up there. Simon Clark of Israel Premier Tech and Alessandro De Marchi of Jaco Alulu are in the break, and then they take off. I think they're both around 36 years old. Simon Clark has won a stage in the Tour last year, beating Taco van der Hoorn. I think it was the cobble stage. Alessandro, and he's won a stage in the Vuelta. He's won a team time trial stage here at the Giro before with Green Edge, but he hasn't won a solo. So he can make that trifecta. Alessandro De Marchi, his former teammate, I think they were teammates last year. They are both really solid old school for 36 or so riders, and they end up dropping everyone here. 67 kilometers to go. The two of them set out to embark to see if they can conquer it. And look, they have at this point 7-minute lead, 2:20 over the break that they're in. They drop in everybody. They're flying down these climbs. Look, you can see them here cornering, taking the apex just right. The teams behind, who's going to pick up the chase for it? Well, you've got, and at one point, 15K to go here. So you got Trek chasing a bit. You don't have Jaco because they got their team rider Alessandro De Marchi up the front. You got Trek, and you didn't see De Corna Alpecin really in the mix there. They didn't really get excited for this. So you just kind of, you had Bahrain doing a little bit of work. You, like I said, Trek. Those are kind of the main ones that we're going for here. So weird mix of some sprinter teams kind of helping, one of them not really helping. But 15K, all of a sudden they start to come into Naples, I think it is as well. The Italians, they have multiple names for everything. You can see Roglic go down. Well, I thought he went down. Now, his shorts look like he might have gone down at some point. So, or he's bundled up from yesterday. I don't know, but he just had a flat. But he gets in there, he gets back in the mix of the cars, and his team does good work to get him back up. A little bit later, you did have a little bit of a wreck. And well, actually, this was over kind of a median thing. You did have some people going down, but Geraint Thomas ends up losing his chain. I don't know if he went down as well or just lost his chain. He had to do some chasing. His team did good work, but it was tough because the whole city was kind of full of turns and traffic islands and all this stuff here. It was, it's a big city. It's kind of congested, and you've got a sprint coming down here. Now, this would have been horrible with the weather that we had the few days before. Luckily, we didn't have that problem, but still. And at this point, 3K to go. You still got the two guys off the front hammering away, Clark and De Marchi. And you're like, look, these guys are both former teammates. They're old school as far as the peloton goes. They both have won in the Grand Tours before. I think De Marchi had won in the Vuelta. We can double check that. But we did give Simon Clark's bona fide, so we know what he's done there. So I'm like, hey, these guys, mate, here's the problem you always have. It's touch and go. They're on the pedal. They're really putting it down. And then in the last kilometer, they start playing cat and mouse. And that is usually because who wants to be leading it out? You want to save that. So when you get up to sprint, you're coming from behind, you can surprise them with the jump and you've got it. Now, if one of you are, these guys have raced together before, and been teammates, they might know which one has the better kick, but a lot of it depends at the end of the race. So do you want to be that guy leading the other one out into the finish? Now there's that, or do you want to just be swarmed up by the group behind and not even get a chance to get second place? Now these guys have both won before, so first means something. And we'll talk about this stage that I was just describing, which gives me we can play a little clip here and just kind of an excitement thing here. Okay, so they're battling this out. They're taking turns, but 3K to go. They're still sharing the load. 1.2K, they're still sharing it. You've got now the big guys coming in, but inside the last kilometer, they start to mess around a bit. I thought, coming into the last kilometer, I'm like, oh, they haven't won. That this is easy for them. Because once again, I think they're going to be, maybe one of these guys is just like, hey, I'm happy with second. I'm glad my buddy's up here. I don't hate him. I guess they didn't hate each other. And they, after the race talking, they don't. They're good guys to each other. But you can see inside 300 meters, they just didn't do it because they were playing cat and mouse just enough. And either one, I mean, look, it's a Giro win that you might get. So I think they're thinking it's a win. I don't want to necessarily get second. What's the point of that? I'd rather just get, field sprint as I would get second. Too bad, because if they had both kind of done a little bit of the work here, and I think DeMarchi did less work in the last, 2K than Simon Clark did, kind of a bummer. So what happens is they get swelled over here. You got Gaviria taking off, a few guys breaking up here. Within the last 50K though, Mads Pedersen is just barreling through in the middle. He's got Jonathan Milan coming with him, but in the end, it's let's see if we can get a post. There you go, right there, almost. Mads Pedersen with the win and the post up. So good for him. His team was happy. They finally got the win. Here's a little bit of overhead. You can see Gaviria kind of doing an early jump, just didn't have enough for it. And there you go. Mads Pedersen. Let's give him his glory right here. There you go. Mads Pedersen with the win. Congratulations to him. So some of the other guys didn't really do it. Simon Clark was a little bit disappointed, but here's the win. Mads Pedersen, Jonathan Milan, Pascal Ackermann of UAE, Caden Groves, yesterday's winner, getting 4th. Fernando Gaviria, 5th. Michael Matthews, 6th. He's just solid 10th place, or top 10 all the time. Vincenzo Albanese, we talked about him the other day. Alberto Contador's team, EOK. Marius Meyerhofer in 8th. Lorenzo Rota in 9th. And Simone Velasco in 10th for Astana, which is Cavendish's team. And Cavendish, as we know, got kind of dispatched on the way. Andres Luknesund still in the lead over Remco, 28 seconds down. Parampati 30, Pedro Almeida, João Almeida in 4th, Primoz Roglic in 5th, 112. That's too bad. Geraint Thomas 126, Vlasov at 126, Tom Squeens at 129, Theo Gegenhardt 130, and Albanese at 139 for 10th place. And we will see this drastically change going in after tomorrow. It's going to happen. So, okay. So maybe I'll just get right to this one. I'm going to play a little bit of this here. This is stage 13 of the Tour de France, one and only. Chris Horner gets in a break all day long, and he gets in the break. And then that break, there's a few little climbs coming into this, and he takes off with Sylvain Chavanel, a French rider. Now, Chris Horner, I think this was his first Tour de France, 2005. Sonia Duval, he had just raced the year before with a team out of Northern California. Forget the name of it. Everyone, Alta Vista or Alto something or other. But anyway, he then gets it with Sonia Duval. He ended up winning a stage at the Tour de Suisse, gets a shot at the Tour de France. He gets in a break here. And this is a little team that would have probably loved a second place. But Chris Horner, being Chris Horner, isn't going to be okay with a second place in the Tour de France. He's won a ton of stuff, a ton of races, so he's no dummy. I mean, this is what people may not understand. They see Chris Horner, he wins the Vuelta. He's been good. He's a climber, right? But what you don't understand about him for so long, Scott Moniger, Mike Engelman, these are the kind of guys of the older days. They won. These are great climbers in their own right, like legit climbers. They would do a ton of crits in the U.S. They would always get in the break. I did I did a ton of racing with all these guys, but what was it? Super Week. It was a big month-long racing back Wisconsin, and famous stuff. It was 96, 97, somewhere in that era when Lance Armstrong, it's the year he got cancer. He came back from the tour early. He was doing this. Horner was out there as well. It was Whitefish Bay, I think, and Horner lapped the field that I was in like twice. I think it was twice. It was ridiculous. And we were, I mean, this is so, by the way, we would do 100-kilometer crits, so they're long, but it was ridiculous. The point I'm getting at is very tactical, very good at like finishing off races and being able to sprint from breakaways. So get in a break, get in a big move, fast, even our hated friend, Phil Guyman wasn't so bad at this, because when you have power and you have, world tour power, you can, or medicines, you can do that. Okay, so let's just play this last 1.5 kilometers.
Well, he should do. It's 8 seconds, and they're not far away.
The sound isn't so good here. Paul Sherwin, R.I.P. But you even had Lance's team chasing him down, and then Robbie McEwen's team. So you got Chavanel here, 1.3K. Chris Horner on his wheel. And Chris Horner doesn't want to take the lead. Okay, let me blow this up a little bit. So he's flicking him. He's not coming through. They haven't won. I mean, this is inside. By the way, they've been like 15, 30 seconds for the last like 4 or 5 kilometers, just hammering. You don't necessarily have the big sprint trains you used to. The Horner's refusing to come through.
Horner is in a good position. He's going to wait until the last possible moment. He must be tired.
Chavanel's drilling it, and Horner's just like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But look at this. These guys are coming on him. Oh, my. I mean, at Horner, can you go? You want to go now? Left-hand turn. How much K? Now Horner goes. And he would have beat Chavanel, but it doesn't matter. Robbie McEwen, I think, comes through. Yep. Wow, that's a look at that. It's all over the road. But there you go. Chris Horner could have won it. He didn't go quite as soon. And by the way, they talked to him after that, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pull through. I'd rather get swarmed by the field than to get second place. So sorry, that's what I'm gonna do." And I played it tactically correct. I remember him being pretty bold about that. So a few things from today's stage I thought I should mention is I broke that down. Maybe let's bring this one back one more time. I should have this ready to go. Oh, I don't have it connected to my computer. Maybe I could do it on Twitter. We talked about this on Twitter about the race yesterday, which was Remco Evenepoel and his crash. And with his crash, blaming everybody, and he was really gestating and being all upset after the when it happened with his managers and everybody. Okay, so I did this little video, which got a lot of people saw it on Twitter. Okay, so I just thought I'd bring it in here again. Here's Remco right before. He's right here. Now, someone, like I said that he was drifting, but the whole pack is kind of drifting to the left a little bit here. And he definitely drifts. It said he wasn't drifting. He was going straight. No, he's definitely going to the right. He looks to his left. He comes across. This guy's going over. He's slowing down too. So he's coming back. This guy doesn't even see him. The Trek rider hits him, smashes into Mads. Mads holds him up. He goes down. There's a bird in the way, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. Okay. So with that in mind, he was really mad, and he, said something. By the way, remember he said some things about Caden Groves earlier, causing a wreck when Caden was getting boxed in and pushed by his own teammates and just gave him an elbow. Sorry, that's what happens. And I mentioned that he's kind of a prick. He's gonna, serve some things bad here. People might not like this, and it's hard to defend him when he's such a jerk. Evidently, he got back yesterday. He watched the film, and I think some of the Trek riders were coming over to kind of, hey, you okay? We don't want to ruin the race leader here. I mean, and don't yell at me in the press either. And evidently he saw it, and he went up and he apologized to Mads and the Trek team. I'm whoever's working with this kid, well done. That's what you need to do. I'm not a big fan, partly because of his antics. And you start doing these kind of things, you're going to start to endear yourself to the public, and you're going to show yourself to be, enjoyable. And by the way, he's going to need, you never know when you're going to need another team to do something. And if you want to make deals or whatever, and then they're not honorable people, and what happens? Maybe that's the case. And do you trust this guy? And he's a jerk, and you won't do it, and you won't even make deals with him because he's such a jerk. Okay, yeah. Change your attitude. Be nice to people. Use them when it's useful for them and you can be used when it's useful for them and you. These things happen. You never know who, sometimes, war or whatever makes strange bedfellows or whatever the saying is. Okay. So I thought that was interesting that he came out and he had apologized. Let's get an interview here by Simon Clark. See what he had to say about this at the finish.
The disappointment is big. Tell us a bit what happened in these last kilometers.
We just gave it everything. We needed 10 more seconds and that was it. And we just missed out, unfortunately.
At the end, it was just both of you didn't have legs anymore. It was not a tactical game.
In the end, it's one thing to arrive to win, but you still have to beat the guy you're with. And so at the end of the day, there's always going to be a little bit of cat and mouse there in the finish. And we knew it was going to be super close. And I tried to pull as long as I could. And I know Alessandro didn't come through that last kilometre, but that's the game we play. And I have to say thanks to him, because without him, I wouldn't have arrived even this close to a stage victory. So, we know each other very well, Alessandro and I, and I know how strong he is. And once I was in the breakaway with him today, I knew that we could give it a big crack at staying away.
I mean, I'll keep playing it here, but I just want to say he's very magnanimous about Di Marchi, which I felt that going in, and so that's why I was kind of a surprise that they did play as much cat and mouse, it says something about their competitive spirit, I understand, but it also is like, bummer that one of you two couldn't have fought it out.
What did he tell you at the end? We saw he came to recomfort you a bit because you were really disappointed.
Look, I dreamt of this victory since the many years now, and I've been second and third and fourth in a stage, and had a fortune enough to have a day in the pink jersey as well. And it would have been amazing to add off a stage victory as well, but it wasn't to be.
Simon, brakes can't seem to get to the finish in World Tour races anymore. Whatever you do, how do you solve this puzzle?
Look, don't hate the player, hate the game. We just keep trying, and the days do happen. We saw a breakaway victory on stage 4 and nearly won today, and maybe again one tomorrow. So I don't know that there's no more breakaway victories. Just got to pick the right day.
All right. Exciting stuff there. Cycle Pro Net also had another interview with Mats. Let's hear
first
this.
And then in Danish after this guy doing English too.
Okay. Danish, I just did in Danish.
Yeah, but
for TV2.
Yes. Well, Mats, before to talk about what that means, take us through this last kilometer. This Di Marchi and Clark at the front, it was really tense. Take us through this last kilometer.
I think it was more, it was really tense. They did super good today, and they managed really, really well. And we had to use, all of us, everyone with a sprinter had to use basically the whole team to catch them. And they played it, or not played, they were so strong today, so it was really not easy. So I'm super happy I could give my team this victory after such a tough day.
And when Gabriel launched his sprint, you believe you could get back to him because it was a really strong attack.
Oh, he came with a really good kick and he made a good gap straight away. But I also knew that, I know I can do a long sprint. So I hope that he would, hit the wall at one point and I could come back. And luckily for me, that happened. So, when he opened, I was not sure I would be able to catch him. But I had to try and luckily I managed it. So a perfect day for us.
And then what that mean? Winning on the 3 Grand Tour?
It's nice. That's why we came here. It's to get a stage victory. So that's super nice to have it already.
And you had to wait a bit for it. You had missed the opportunities a bit before.
Yeah. What was it? What is this stage? 5, 6?
6.
6. So you know, in the Tour and the Vuelta, we had to wait until stage 13. So it's still earlier than the other two. So it's good. We missed a few opportunities, as you said, in the last couple of days. But now we're there, and now we keep fighting for more.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, so some interesting, and well, I think there's another interview here I want to look at. What's interesting about that is just knowing your sprint. Okay, so he's like, look, he Gaviria kicked early. I know my sprint. I can, I do a long sprint. And so sometimes when you know you're kind of sprinting, and then you have to take a look at the finish, and you've kind of, different sprinters for different types. Good job for Mads. I kind of like it when the sprinters are sharing it around a little bit. And so everybody's kind of getting their shot here. Let's take a look here. I think we've got one more interview. I think this is Alexandro. Just he and Clark. Looks like they're just two guys really bummed. Let's get a picture of him though. It's just like makes you feel for him. Wow, it's rough. It's rough. DeMarque is trying to console him there, and he just he couldn't be taken in, given, I don't know. Just had a rough time. Mads Pedersen gets a win. The only one here, the Caden Groves, we've got him, got in a win down in third place. Jonathan Milan, he's got a win. He's got the fuchsia colored jersey. Ackerman still has yet to get a win with UAE. Gaviria still got to get a win. Michael Matthews has got his win. So of this top 10, I've got a solid amount of sprinters that have already done their thing. Larry Warbass breaking his way up into the top 18. Anybody miss out? McNulty lost 23 seconds. Probably just helping with the lead out there at the end and fell off. Filippo Ganna, he lost 32. He was helping G. Thomas get back into it. And then, some of these other guys, Scotsman, Cantor, Dombrowski lost 322. I don't know if that's part of a crash or whatnot. Any other Americans out here? Nope. Looks like that. Oh, we had a DNF. DNS. Clement Rousseau from Team Arkea Sansic. So they're down another rider. Bummer. Here's so we get to take a look at this finish line photo. We'll give him his due here. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at the GC. Got the results. How about the GC? Luke Nason, nothing there. We already talked about that. Points, maybe we start looking at that. Jonathan Milan is in first with 110 points, 99 Caden Groves, Mads Pedersen, Michael Matthews at 83. So these top three are fairly close here. Even Michael Matthews at fourth with 54. That's really not out of it. The KOM, Thibaut Pinot, 40 points to 26 for Emmanuel Gabriel from Eritrea on 26. Solid. The youth goes to Luke Nason. Remco will end up winning that one. And the team prize so far with Ineos Grenadiers down to the bottom of Team Cortec, Sella Italia. But they've actually been getting in the moves and the breaks. So they've been up there. Whether they've been getting much of that anyway, much to. Okay. Stage 6, stage 7. Here we go. So we got this last bit. What did he say here before? This is 30, almost 50 kilometers uphill. A Cat 2, which just leads into a Cat 1. That will be an interesting little section. Let me see, going kind of still down the coast. And there's the finishing profile. Looks pretty solid. So what's your take on the tomorrow? Depends on how Remco and depends on how Roglic are feeling. I think those are your top 1-2s, but it'll be interesting to see who else comes out there. Does Thomas feel okay? Who else is kind of João Almeida? Who else is kind of in the mix here? That will be exciting and it'll be fun. It'll be fun to figure that out. Anyway, there we go. Two guys got in a break, made it exciting, and right at the end they didn't get it. So that was disappointing. Once again, reminded me of that Tour de France 2005, stage 13, Chris Horner and Stevan Chabanel with Robbie McEwen winning it in the end. It can happen, people. Look, just getting up there. Some people aren't satisfied with just getting in the move. They're only happy if they get the win. That does say something. Sylvain Chavanel won a ton. He was a French national champion for many times, won stages in the Tour. Chris Horner wins the Vuelta, wins tons of races in the US and around the world, Switzerland. So they know how to do it. And in the end, Robbie McEwen got that win. But today, we're talking about the Giro. We're talking about Mads Pedersen. Simon Clark, almost. Demarque, almost. Tomorrow, Remco or Roglic. One of those two. It's going to be the one. Take care, everybody.